clothing is one thing and it's great, but I'm also here to generate a feeling from women. I want them to feel what I felt when this came into my head, confident, believing in myself. This like matching set that is good for your body, your health, and your longevity is also like your uniform to stepping into your next level and your best self, because we are all capable of living abundant lives and we're all capable of creating our own reality in whatever way we want and live our most divine life. And so I'm just kind of like, this is more than just clothes. This is a feeling.
Freedom doesn't happen by accident. It's built. Welcome to Freedom by Design, where we explore what it really takes to create more freedom in your life, your business, and your relationships. We're Josh and Paula Kerpan, and this is intentional living done right.
Hey, welcome back to Freedom by Design, you guys. And I am so excited to talk to our guest today. I've seen this play out 100 times where women are building something of their own or kind of have this dream or goal with inside of them. And the dream really shows up first, and then right behind it usually appears this unshakable fear. A terror barrier, we call it, something that comes up against you and you just think, no, this isn't for me. So most people think that the fear means that they should stop. They think that it means that it's not the right time, it's not for me, maybe later. So they just wait and the dream just sort of sits there. And my guest today didn't wait. She just kind of hopped in with 2 feet, and I'm just so excited to hear about her story. So Nicole Peter is the founder of Petal Fever, and it is a hormone-conscious activewear line that she's building from the ground up, which I'm so proud of her. And it's built for the way a woman's body is actually supposed to work, not the way that the industry says it should or pretends that it does. And what I want to get into today isn't too much about the product, because she's still kind of in the beginning stages of developing the product, but it's really her decision and the moment that she stopped waiting to feel ready and just started building it anyways. So because that is kind of the whole game, isn't it? We want to jump in before we feel ready. You're committing to something worth doing, and the readiness just shows up along the way. So I can't wait to chat with Nicole today. Nicole, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Paula, so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
So we are going to kind of dive into a little bit about what she's building with Petal Fever. She's going to explain the brand itself in a second, but I want you to sort of introduce yourself, Nicole, and who you are, where you're at, kind of how you got into building this brand, or what the thought process was behind the start, the origin of.
Yes, honestly, it's been such a journey. So yes, my name is Nicole. I'm a mom of 2 littles. I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old that takes up a lot of my time, but I feel very fulfilled in motherhood. But I've always known I have like this deep, deep fire within my chest to do something else, like something for me and something that has great impact on the lives of others outside of motherhood. And so motherhood has been all consuming in the best way, but also too, I knew I needed something more, something for me. I've always been like really driven and ambitious and a visionary. My head's in the clouds a lot of the time, thinking up like different ideas and things like that. And I just kind of went on a journey. I feel like my journey is so massive that I could sit here and talk to you all day about it. But I'll give you the Coles notes and how I got to where I am today and how Petal Fever kind of came to fruition, because I feel like not all of us have an idea and it works the first time, right? When you're like an entrepreneur or you have this idea, sometimes it takes a few tryings of different things and different angles and pivoting and growing to find true alignment. And so with me, I had the kids. I was in a 9-to-5 job with the government, and I thought I would climb the corporate ladder and do the thing. And I feel like this is such a common narrative.
Yeah, 100%.
And then I felt a lot of unhappiness, a lot of sadness, a lot of guilt sending my kids to daycare every day. And I was thinking like, there's gotta be, like, this can't be it. Like, I went to school and got the degree and did the thing and got the job and, supposed to stay here until I retire. And that works for a lot of people. But for me, I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling like that excitement and that fulfillment and sending my kids to childcare and being in this job in tech. It didn't make sense anymore. So after a lot of like battling with that internally and kind of going through a bit of the dark night of the soul where I just kind of hit rock bottom completely, I started getting myself up and I joined a network marketing company that really pushed me to grow and look inwards and do that personal development and come back to my heart and my soul and what actually makes me happy and fulfilled in life outside of motherhood. And so I experienced that for a couple of years, and that gave me the confidence to open another business on the side, which was a spray tan business at the time. And so that gave me experience in like just like being confident in your abilities and having an idea and actually executing it and going for it. And then that gave me confidence to quit my 9 to 5, which was a huge thing. Kind of felt the fear, did it anyway. It's worked out. And I feel like all of these are like little bricks in this empire I'm building. And so all of these bricks are so critical to where I am today because I've gone through a lot of hard, my version of hard. And I've gone through a lot of persevering and overcoming all of the hard through all of my personal development that I've learned podcasts, books, journaling, meditation, like you name it, I've done it. And it's made me a better person and a more sure person of what I'm worthy of in this lifetime. And so after all of these things, nothing felt aligned. I was being met with resistance. And I was like, okay, I just want the thing. Where's the thing? You know, I feel like we're all looking for the thing that really truly lights us up. And I'm like, I know it's out there. I know I can touch it, but what is it? And it's funny because I had kind of ideas of creating my own product. And I always thought I never want to package something up and ship it. I never thought I would have a product.
Interesting.
I hated the idea of packing something up, shipping it to a customer. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. So it's funny that we're here. But Petal Fever came into my head, just like boop, popped into my head. I was on a walk. It was pouring down rain. And that's where I get my best ideas. And I had recently closed the door on my network marketing business. So, you know, when one door closes. And I just sat with myself a lot in this period of not knowing what my next thing was, but knowing it was coming and not forcing any answers. So I went for this walk one day and I will never forget it. Everything came. It was like a universal download into my head. And it was, you know, an assignment bigger than me. And I'm getting goosebumps even saying that.
Me too. Oof.
Like this is not something I chose. This is something that chose me. And in all of the sudden, all of the ideas were swirling in my brain. It was like, okay, I really want cute matching sets, but make them healthy, make them clean, make them non toxic, make them make sense for our bodies and our hormones and how everything works as a woman. Like we want our fabrics against our skin to work with us and not against us. And so I'm like, do those exist? Where can I find those? And then I know that when you ask that question, the answer is, well, you got to create it, right?
Because that it does not exist that I know of.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, so it just all came into my head flooding down, like the ideas of what the matching sets would look like, the feeling behind the brand, because clothing is one thing and it's great, but I'm also here to generate a feeling from women. I want them to feel what I felt when this came into my head, confident, believing in myself, main character energy. This matching set that is good for your body, your health, and your longevity is also your uniform to like stepping into your next level and your best self, because we are all capable of living abundant lives and we're all capable of creating our own reality in whatever way we want and live our most divine life. And so I'm just kinda like, this is more than just clothes, this is a feeling.
Gosh, I just have goosebumps about that whole that whole opening question. I think it's so interesting that you were out in nature and, calm in that state of being ready to receive that sign. right? And I think so many times we are almost desperate in trying to find what speaks to us or trying to find our passion or trying to discover even just what it is that we want. That's one of the most hard questions I ask our coaching clients, and particularly mothers, when you say what it is that you want. Like, what is your desire? What do you want to pursue in life aside from raising amazing children? And I think it's like giving ourselves the permission to be open to receive the sign from the universe, right? Or from God or whoever you believe in, that, we're using that idea and going to pursue that passion, and nothing's going to get in our way, kind of thing, right? But the fact that you were in nature and were open to receive that is an absolutely incredible thing. And I'm going to ask you a little bit about your, like, how you move through your day and if there's any habits that you have, like, later on in the episode. But I always find it so interesting when people, pour into themselves and have that personal development piece, especially mothers, because it's such a thing that we can table and put off to another time because we're so busy with our kids that we don't prioritize our own self-care, our own, personal development. And I think it's just so important, and I want to recognize that because you do that work behind the scenes, you were able to be open to receiving that idea, right? And now you are going to create this uniform, like you said, right? Something that we can put on almost like armor to make ourselves feel like $1 million, right? When we go out and run errands, or when we're working with our kids, or when you're building, a dream business, or whatever that looks like, and we have given ourselves the permission to do that. I think that's such an incredible concept, that the reason behind what it is that you're doing. It's not just to make the sale on the clothes. It is to really, empower and impact women in such a positive way that they can really literally go out and do whatever it is that they want.
And I didn't mention this before, but I started a podcast probably 8 months or so before this idea came to fruition, and it's called The Slow Lane, because we need to slow down,
Yeah.
right? Everyone is kind of hustling and bustling and grinding and forcing and this, that, and the other. And I think that when you start to slow, that's when clarity comes. When you allow yourself time to sit with everything, your feelings, your thoughts, all of it, and allow your mind to get quiet for a minute, that's where all the downloads come in, all the ideas. And it's your inner knowing that will know, okay, like, this is for sure. We're going to run with this one, right? But if you're too busy, and if you're wrapped up in motherhood or wrapped up in your job or your career, whatever you're doing, and you're just going around being frantic, you're not going to be hearing anything that's supposed to drop in. You're not going to be certain on anything. You're just kind of like running on the hamster wheel of life, go, 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 go. And so the podcast was like my therapy to myself to like get my mind right and slow down. And
Yeah.
then when I finally did, this massive idea came to me, and it was like full body, yes, Paula. And that's how I make decisions, is with it's instant. And it's with my full body. Like, I feel it somehow and I'm like, yes, I know. Okay, this is it. I think more people need to give themselves grace and space to slow down, because so much magic can happen within the slow moments.
I love that because there's so much hustle culture around building or striving towards a goal. It's like has to be on a certain timeline and all of that. And I think we get wrapped up in the roles that we play or the roles that we do that take space in our lives, and we forget about who we actually are, right? And what our individual unique potential is. And we are really born as creative beings, right? And so, however you want to express that creativity is up to you, and it's unique for everybody. But, like you said, when there's so much going on and we are in so many things and we're consumed by so much of what it is that we do, we can't listen to those feelings or those voices or pay attention to them or be in tune with them because we're just running that rat race, right? And so usually when I have conversations with mothers in particular, they are on the rat race, like taking their kids to sports. They're running all over the place doing all the things, which is amazing. And mothers just have so much on their plate. But The thing that they forget to take care of or to stop and consider is their wants and their goals and their dreams, right?
If you've been listening to this podcast, you already know something. You're built for more. The 100X Breakthrough Program is built for leaders, business owners, and growth-driven individuals who are ready to stop playing at the edge of their potential and start operating at a completely different level. If you know you're capable of more, but you're still stuck, this is your next step. Let's schedule an instant impact coaching session and see if the 100X Breakthrough Program is the right fit for you. Go to kznsolutions.ca. That's kznsolutions.ca.
And I want to ask you, by you having this goal of building Petal Fever, what do you think that's going to do to impact your kids in a similar way? Like by you trailblazing and moving through that fear and doing it anyways and having that belief in yourself, like your kids are pretty young still. How do you think that's going to impact them as you move through building this brand and as they see you doing all of these different things, finding what is your worthy ideal or what is your goal and pushing towards.
That's such a good question, Paula, because before we started this recording, we were talking about how everything we do for the most part is for our children. Most of
Yeah,
it, right?
yeah.
We're here to pave the way, set an example, be our best selves so they can step into their best selves. And it is funny because I have talked to my older one, Amelia. We've chatted a little bit about the business and what mommy's going to be doing and making clothes and stuff. And just yesterday, she was like, you know what I want to do? I want to make bracelets and I want to sell them. She's already leaning into entrepreneurship
Yeah.
because she's seeing me do the dang thing over here and have so much belief in myself. And you know what? I think children observe and they soak everything in. And so with them just simply noticing that I have this sparkle in my eye for something and
Yes.
I have something that is mine that excites me outside of motherhood, they're going to grab onto that and they're going to be like, okay, like my mom's really happy doing this. Like, what does this look like for me? By me having belief in myself and confidence in myself and knowing my worth, that's going to transfer onto them.
Hmm.
And the
Totally.
fact that through business, you have to do the personal development, you have to do the work on yourself, you have to heal, all of the things, like it comes part and parcel with being an entrepreneur. They're going to see me doing the work and like evolving and growing as a human being. And they're going to like take on those practices for themselves too. So I feel very proud of myself, to be honest, in how far I've come and how I can really be just a really badass role model for my kids to know that they can do anything. Like we're all put on this planet to live abundant lives. And what is stopping us, you know?
It's our own limiting beliefs. My husband always says kids don't do what you say, they do what you do. They're going to, fall into those habits that they see you doing, right? Like my older two boys, they work out now 3 or 4 times a week, but Josh and I work out every day. Like they've seen that behavior for years, right? So they know that that is just something that you do, right? And so they are now modeling our behavior. And like I said, those limiting beliefs they come from a very early age, right? Put into our subconscious at a very early age. And it is usually, it's not ill intentioned by a parent to put, negative self beliefs into their kids from a very young age, but it happens just kind of by osmosis, right? So however you are treating yourself and your belief in yourself and your self worth and what you're capable of, we were all created to live so abundantly. Like, why doesn't every kid believe that? Right? Well, it's because whatever it is their teachers, parents, society is telling them is possible. And for your daughter to already want to create something to impact the world and build a business out of, I think that's just the coolest thing. You know, our older two boys are big into baseball and they have had MLB major league aspirations for ever since they could really dream, right? Really start talking. And Josh and I have both said like 100% that they're going to make it to the major leagues. If that's what you want and that is your goal, it is 100% possible. Like, who am I to say that it's not? So if you're going to put in the work and have the process and the routine behind it, and that's your worthy ideal that you're working towards, you're going to push through everything that comes up against you because that's how much you believe in it. And my job is to pour that belief also into them, which is such a cool thing about being a parent. And I think a lot of people find that like a lot of pressure. But if you take the time and give yourself permission to take care of yourself, it kind of happens by osmosis. Like, your kids are just watching you glow, like you're glowing, Nicole, because you're following what it is that you really truly believe in, and your desire is so strong. You're just going to go and do it no matter the timeline, right? And I think it'd be interesting to know if there was a moment that you kind of knew that this dream was worth everything it was going to cost you, that you knew that there was going to be struggles, right? Was there a moment that you were like, no, this is just, I'm going to do it. I'm meant to do this. I'm just going to blast through everything I need to.
Oh, what's funny mentioning limiting beliefs because I have a massive confession. And I've talked about this on the podcast too. Petal Fever came to me once before. So,
Really?
yeah, last
Oh,
summer.
cool.
hmm
Okay.
So I was sitting in my backyard and I was really contemplating everything. I was still doing my network marketing business, but it wasn't feeling right anymore. And I was sitting there and I was like, oh, like, what is it? What is it? And then I thought, I like keep matching sets that are good for your body. And then my limiting beliefs crept in, Paula, because I wasn't ready to hold it yet. Last summer, I was a very different version of myself than I am today. And so that idea came in, that download came in, but I wasn't ready to fully receive it and take it on. I still had some inner work to do. So I was like, every excuse in the book, no, 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 I can't do that. That sounds ridiculous. I'm going to park it. And then I did all this work on myself between last summer and January of 2026. I did all of this work on myself and I uncovered a lot of limiting beliefs and worthiness and enoughness and all of the things. And so once I started to do all this work, I gained belief and confidence. And then the idea came back stronger on my walk. And I was like, I am ready to hold it and I'm ready to do something about it. And I was so flippin' sure that nothing has made me waver ever since. I am so full on with Petal Fever and I know it's my future. I know it's what I'm destined to do, and I also know that I'm supposed to bring other women along for the ride. The thing that's a little bit different between my brand and other brands is, I was like, okay, like I'm going to design clothes, weird. But then I'm thinking, okay, well, what do women want? I know what I want. I know it would look cute, but what do women want? And so I started like really involving women in making design decisions and having them vote on like colors and preferences and how do you want everything to feel? Like, do you want a more compressed feel or like a soft, buttery feel? Do you want pockets in the leggings or not? How do you want the zip up to look and feel? And women grabbed onto that and they freaking love being a part of something from the beginning. And so I think now that I have so many women in my corner, like I have a wait list that I had to close because there were so many women on it for drop one. So I have so many women in my corner. They have belief in me too, that I haven't had a moment where I'm like, no, I can't do this. Like, this is too much. This is too scary because I did all the work. You know? Like, I'm a different person. I'm really coming across challenges, especially this week has been really hard with a few things with the business, but I have a very different mindset. I'm like, okay, well, this is happening for me because thank goodness it's happening now versus when the stakes are higher later. We can figure it out. We can untangle some webs and we can like find a solution while the stakes are not huge. And then we know how to address it later. So my mindset has shifted. And, I had the limiting beliefs in the beginning when it first came to me, but I did the work and now it's like full on so much belief that like you couldn't do anything to make me give up.
I've just like I have goosebumps and I can feel her desire through the screen. The energy is just electric. It's crazy that you can experience that through screen. So Nicole has yet to create the matching suit. Like, she doesn't actually have a website where she's selling clothes already, you guys. Okay. She has started this brand from day one, and she shared the whole thing. We'll put her social media in the show notes because I want you guys to be able to follow along. But the coolest part has been to watch her share that desire through her social media pages, but also, like you said, giving women almost ownership in the brand itself from the beginning. Like, she's asked about colors, she's asked about fit and sizing, and you know, different kind of shades of colors in the following launches. So now I feel like this wait list that she had to close, every single one of us has like, well, this is how I feel, is that I have like a tiny share in Petal Fever because I'm invested now in her desire. Like, I'm invested in her dream because I want to see it succeed, because I've seen the desire build from day one. And she has shared the good, the bad, the ugly, the struggles, like the fear that she's gone through, all those things. She shared it all so openly, which I love, because anything or seems so difficult, it's not going to go on the timeline that you think it's going to go on. It's not going to take the path you think. You're going to have bumps and roadblocks and dips and peaks and all the things. But to be able to share that openly, because I find social media so much to be such a highlight reel.
Right.
Now I'm now making millions of dollars and I achieved my goal, whatever, but you don't see the struggle and the work that goes in behind it. And I just love that you spoke to how much work that you've put in your mindset, and you can feel it. It's a different energy because that belief is, it's almost transparent, like it's moving out of you into the universe. And how incredible is that, that you have done that work and now it's impacting millions of people in the world. I just think that's an absolutely incredible thing, and you should be so proud of yourself. It's just an absolutely incredible thing to watch,
Thanks, lady.
be a part of.
Yeah, I think like the most powerful, like I've always been very into community and women coming together and like owning our power, stepping into our power. And so I knew that I wanted to bring women along. Like, it just made sense. And I'm very open and transparent. And I overshare to a fault sometimes, but I wear my heart on my sleeve, and that's just who I am. And I must embrace that version of me. And so I'm like, well, yeah, I'm going to talk about the financial, like the fact that the price has quadrupled since the beginning of all this. I'm going to talk about that. Like, that's the reality of this business, and the timelines and how they've been pushed out so much and things like that. And bringing women along, because when you let people in, they have this emotional investment in the journey, and they have this belief in the journey and in you, and they want to reach out to their friends and share, and like, hey, you gotta see what this girl's doing. And so when you open up, as vulnerable as it is, it's so special, just being open and sharing the good, the bad, and the ugly, because it's not all rainbows and butterflies over here. There's some really serious challenges. But again, it comes back to mindset. And it's like, if you've got your mind right and you've got confidence, you can figure out solutions. We can find the money to fund the dream. The money is out there, it's just going to come. There are ways to figure it out. And it's just like having your mindset right, having that belief in yourself, and like being open and vulnerable about what you're doing, because people love that. I love that.
The world is working for me, not against me, right? And I think
Mhm.
so many times when you have that type of mindset and have done the work to believe in yourself and have that level of self-worth, that you have a goal, you have a dream, you have a desire, and you know you want to pursue it, well, you're just going to find another avenue to overcome those challenges, right? Somebody says no to you, well, you're like, well, this isn't the path that I was supposed to take. I guess I'm going to take a sharp little detour over here and figure out something else. And I think that's such an incredible mindset to have. We find in our coaching group a lot of the times it really just comes down to mindset. Like, it doesn't come down to your economic spreadsheet. It is your mindset, right? And what you believe that you're capable of, and where you believe your business is going. And that's why we talk so much about it and coach so much on it, because that's what makes the difference in pursuit of your goals.
That's where we're going to pause for today. You just heard the front half of this story, where Nicole came from, how Petal Fever was born, and what she had to slow down enough to notice before any of it could start. In part 2, we get into the harder stuff, the fear before the launch, the moments she almost didn't, what it actually took to build the thing, and what she knows about herself now that she didn't know before. So here's what I want you to sit with until then. Nicole didn't get clear and then move. She moved and the clarity came looking for her. That's the pattern every time. That idea you've been sitting on, the one waiting for things to settle down, for more time, more money, more proof, it's not waiting on readiness, it's waiting on you. Come back for part 2. I'm Paula Kerpan, and this has been Freedom by Design.
We appreciate you being part of Freedom by Design. If this conversation added value, help us spread the love. Take a second to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs it. The more intentional we become, the more freedom we create in our homes, our work, and our future. We'll see you next time. God bless.